Welcome everybody to the Q&A live with Cherif Medawar. It is Wednesday, May 13th at approximately 1:33 p.m. Pacific. And so I think it's 3:32 for yourself?
Yeah, for me?
Yeah.
It's 3:31, yes. So I wasn't sure we're going to start at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 4 p.m., but it seems like there was an email that went out. So here we are on the call, and it's recorded anyway.
Yeah, there's a little technical difficulty, so I apologize to anybody who's on here a little bit before they expected, or, we may have people actually join a little bit later, but we should go ahead and get started. San Francisco in the house from Akeisha. Hello, Akeisha, and San Francisco. Love the Bay Area, and I know that you do as well, Cherif. Actually, why don't you mention that? Mention, for anybody who doesn't know, how invested in San Francisco you are.
Well, okay, so I am right now in Cancun. I've been quarantined in Cancun, but as you can see from the screensaver behind me, San Francisco is the place. My fund is based in San Francisco. I have a home in Santa Clara. I've been there for many, many years. So yeah, we have actually 7 properties in the San Francisco area, Presidio Heights, Pacific Heights, about 40 million in assets right now being rehabbed. Thank God we have nothing for sale. So that pandemic kind of helped us catch up with some things we needed to catch up with. We're able to continue working in the properties. We're able to convince the city on 3 of the properties that we had some urgent work to do, which is the foundation and the structure. So they let us continue. So we're good. And we love San Francisco. Been in it, since 98. So 22 years now.
Actually, that's interesting that you mentioned that about you don't have anything for sale. Are you seeing, that actually brings up a question. Hello, Michael, by the way, and Dennis in Texas, and Dana. Welcome to the Q&A. But the question is, are you seeing a fire sale because of everything? Like, are you seeing basically things that you didn't see before in the market? Are people having to rush now because of the pandemic? Or what are the differences you're seeing, especially with your investments there in the Bay Area?
Actually, we're seeing very little transactions. There hasn't been much done. What was on the market is still on the market. So it's not like they took it out or took it off, and very little new stuff is coming. A lot of people are trying to do loan modifications so no real big activities to know yet what's going to happen. But what's anticipated is a drop in the market, which is fantastic for us, actually.
Great. Now, Cherif, I wanted to start actually this Q&A with something a little bit different. I wanted to challenge you a little bit. I'm not sure if Ashley mentioned it, but let's play the word association game. So I'm going to say a word, and then you give me a one-word response, basically, that communicates your thoughts on that particular word. Sound good?
Okay.
Okay. Apartments.
No rent increases. Sometimes I will not say one word. I'll tell you like.
Give me a phrase. I know it's hard. It's definitely difficult, but if you give me the phrase, that would be perfect. Okay.
I'll say no rent increases.
Okay. Corporation.
By the way, may I elaborate, because I always have more thoughts to share. Those people who bought their apartment buildings based on a pro forma of they're going to increase it by 3% or 5%, whatever, are going to be surprised that although the interest rate is very low, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are still active in the lending business, not as active as before, but they're still active nevertheless. The rent increases are not going to be there. So a lot of pro formas, which is outlook of future income on properties, are going to be way upside down and problematic for a lot of these syndications that are purely apartment buildings. Okay, sorry, continue now.
No, good, love it. Corporations.
Well, they better get the right bailouts from the government and restructure and adapt. Those companies who will not adapt are going to go by the wayside very quickly.
Okay. Assisted living facility. I know that's not one word, that's really kind of like 3 words, but assisted living facilities.
Assisted living facilities are a very interesting product if you get the right building of maybe 100 units with memory care in the right markets like Florida, Texas, Colorado. You could do well. You can either build them from the grounds up and after doing very clear studies on who can afford them in certain communities, or you can buy some that are not very well run at pennies on the dollar and then work them. It could be potentially a good asset if it's already up and running, if you know what you're doing, but it's just a lot of liability, a lot of moving parts. I am personally not crazy about that asset type.
Now, you mentioned actually recently, and I think we posted a video recently where, the real theme was buy the building, not the business, right? So
yes,
that still applies, right? Where you're not necessarily looking for the assisted living facility or assisted living business, you're looking for the facility itself.
Yes, the only exception I would like to say, if you're going to buy a building for the business itself, it would be hotels, because hotels have the opportunity to change the business a little bit, and the multiplier on the value of the building is tremendous. So, and then in hotels, you can get big brands like Hilton and Marriott to operate them. Now, right now, talking about hotels is a sore subject for many people. I was just interviewed by a company in New York that handled the CMBS. Just finished the call actually half an hour ago, which will be posted on YouTube and many other channels. I don't know. But they were saying they can't loan on hotels. They can't figure out the numbers, and they're going to have to wait till first quarter 2021. This could be a great opportunity for those who want to jump in on hotels. So because hotels are cyclical, and mid-budget hotels will do very well. Mm-hmm.
And that's actually where you started, right? In hotels.
Oh, yeah. I love hotels. As an asset, it's phenomenal. Very flexible asset, yes.
Perfect. So, excuse me, protection.
Asset protection is key. When the market gets tougher, people start thinking lawsuits, disputes, evictions. You start nice, next thing you know, things are rough. And we have the best asset protection program. Everybody should look into it. Go to KMAGB, kissmyassetsgoodbye.com, KMAGB.com, and watch the animation video for 3 minutes. It will give you a real awakening on how to protect your assets.
KMAGB.com. Actually, I'll send that to everybody just in case they want to take a look at that. Actually, we would encourage everybody to take a look at that, especially now. We do live already in the most litigious country in the world, so it's always a good idea to protect what you've worked hard for. So KMAGB, you can look at the chat box to actually see that, but stay with us, and then you can check out the link a little bit after the call. The next question, crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding may be very interesting. It's crowdfunding is when you can actually get people to invest in smaller amounts, even if they're not accredited, so they don't have a net worth of $1 million or a high income, as in $200,000 a year for an individual, or $300,000 if they're a couple filing taxes jointly. So for non-accredited, sophisticated people, they can join with the crowdfunds. Crowdfunds are great. They are kind of getting more attention now, and I think by the last quarter it's going to pick up. And we do some crowdfunding as well, so people who want some information on it, we can help them with that.
Great, perfect. The last word I'm going to throw at you is starting.
Oh, if you haven't started yet, this is the best time to start. Problem is, most people, the start stops them. They get so scared of what they're going to face that they keep delaying it and procrastinating, etc. And every time you grow a little bit, there is the next level. So you have to encourage yourself. You have to really work on starting new things. The more things you start and create, the less problems you will have in life, believe it or not. And some people think, oh, the more I'm going to start, the more problems I'm going to have. No, there is nothing that stays the same in the universe. It either improves or it just declines. And you have to be cause. You have to start, and you have to grow things, and you have to keep pushing. And that's what weeds out those who succeed and those who just wonder what happened.
So the most important thing is getting started. So would you isolate, because you've done the hotels. I mean, you start with the hotels, you do the joint venture with single tenant retail, you do so many different types of commercial buildings. Would you pick one if you have to start all over again, or is it really just a matter of getting started?
No, it's really a matter of getting started, because I think one of the questions that came in for us to answer, which I know you were asking me later, but let me pull it now. I think somebody said, what are the most lucrative commercial assets? Well, It actually depends on the deal. I can tell you, I like retail because single tenant retail is a consistent type of strategy that works in great times, in bad times, in horrible times, no matter what. If you got the right building in the right location with the right tenant, it's very powerful. Does this mean it's good always? Yeah, if it has that checklist. What would be better asset? Well, maybe there is a hotel that's a better asset at a certain time in a certain location. So if you focus on certain type of commercial assets and understand the numbers, wealth is a skill based on numbers. Know the numbers that you need. The easiest numbers are on the joint venture program that we do. And that's why I choose that program to be the best program to continue growing with students. So best type of assets, everybody's walking away, I hate to be so absolute, walking away from retail thinking, oh, shopping malls are falling apart. We're not in shopping malls. We're in single tenant. The tenants are leaving the shopping malls, going into single tenant to control their marketing, their future based on traffic, etc. So yeah, it's
so the joint venture program in single tenant buildings is really kind of like an evergreen opportunity that is kind of.
It is my favorite and my easiest asset. And if your end goal in life is simplicity, then start with simplicity. Why complicate your life?
Yeah, great. Now, just to let everybody know, we had a couple questions come in. If you look at the chat box, you'll see you have the ability to raise your hand. If you want to raise your hand a little bit later, or actually throughout this call, we're going to be taking live questions. This is our first time using Zoom, so bear with us if we have a couple little hiccups along the way. But what I will do is I will actually unmute you and activate your camera if you choose. If you choose to activate your camera and actually ask Cherif your question personally. So if you will, if you'd like to actually ask a question personally to Cherif, feel free to raise your hand. I see I already have a hand raised from Mario. We have Akeisha, by the way. Akeisha asked, will you tell us your name? My name is Juan Clark, JC. I've had the pleasure of knowing Cherif now for several years and have learned so much that I feel like I owe him. I don't even know how much money just from everything that I've picked up and learned. But my name is Juan Clark. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to meet you guys on the call. And always a pleasure to be here with you, Cherif. The question, okay, so just to let you know, Mario, Akeisha, Richard, and everyone else, if you'd like to ask Cherif a live question in the chat box, raise your hand and we'll be taking those questions. Before we do that, Mario, get ready. I'm gonna ask you this question, then we'll get right to Mario's question. By the way, actually, somebody asked, do you have a checklist when you were mentioning, in your previous comments about the single tenant retail and the types of assets? Do you have a checklist?
Yes. So everybody that took the joint venture program, they know the 7 steps that we take. First, identifying the building and the criteria for that. That's the checklist for the building. There are 15 criteria we look for. Number 2, what to tell the broker. So how do we make the offer? Based on what? What is the formula? There is a very specific formula based on the expected rents, et cetera, not that asking price. And then number 3, and it goes from there, how do you do a package that present to the tenants? What do you have to have in the package for the email, for the video? And then the next step, start smiling and dialing. How do you work with the neighboring tenants? Who are the neighboring tenants you want that will help you select? And then the next level, when they're interested, what are the 9 things that I negotiate on the phone with the letter of intent? So yes, there is a checklist for each step, not just a checklist for the whole thing. It is broken down to subsections. And anybody that's on this call who is joint venture with us already in the program, you can go to the joint venture website. You can see the entire training. The latest training I've done was in March. I mean, literally 5 days before the entire lockdown. So that's the latest and the best. And I keep updating people with it.
Okay, great. Mario, hopefully you're ready. I'm going to allow you to talk. And I believe it'll actually allow you to share your video if you choose.
And Mario, if you go to the lower part of your screen and click, it's going to show a mute button. Click it. So now you're good.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Mario.
Mario.
Hello.
Hey, Mario. Welcome to the call.
Thank you. Actually, I had a couple questions, Cherif. First of all, when you've spoken that when you assign a loan to a bank, what is the benefit to the bank? Why does the bank do that?
Okay, it's not assigning a loan to the bank. You mean probably assigning the lease to the bank, right?
Correct. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. So when we sign a lease with a big national tenant with a corporate guarantee, one of the things I offer the bank is, hey, listen, you're going to give me the loan at, let's say, 5% interest. What if I assign the lease to you? So now you can record not just a lien on the property for the mortgage, but you can also record a UCC1 filing, which is a uniform commercial code, meaning the rent, which is the business in the building, will also be controlled by the tenant. We send a letter to the tenant and say, yes, now you're going to occupy 123 El Camino Real, but now your payment can go directly to the bank. The bank will deposit it right into the bank account, and then they will withdraw the payment mortgage from it, the mortgage payment from it. So it gives the bank peace of mind that they're actually receiving the payment and controlling the entire income. This way, if I ever default with them and not pay for any reason, what the bank can do is not have to wait for me to foreclose on me and then get the property with the income. They can start getting the income and blocking me from receiving any income, and then they go through the process of foreclosure. So the assignment of lease is an assignment of lease in case of default. It gives the bank a lot of peace of mind. And what do I gain as an owner of the property, of the asset? What I end up gaining is I end up getting a lower interest rate on the loan. So if we're getting, like we're working on a deal right now, maybe getting a loan of 3.8 million. It's a single tenant building. It's a big one. I mean, a difference of half a point or so here or there can make a big difference on the payments, all positive cash flow. The bank is happy and you're happy.
I see that.
Is this your airplane? You fly planes? Mario?
No. I wish. No, I'm a pilot, but it's not my airplane.
Okay.
Listen, could I have another quick question, please?
Yes, sir.
Is there a way for me to use some money I have in an IRA for a earnest money deposit without being penalized?
Yes. Well, right now you can borrow from your IRA up to 100,000. You can actually cash out from the IRA up to 100,000, if you will, and pay the taxes over 3 years period. So that's pretty good. You can cash out from the IRA. I misspoke and I said you can borrow. You can borrow from your 401k. So that will be one of the best ways. Is maybe you can cash out 10,000 from your IRA, and that 10,000 when you cash it out, if you're over 59 and a half, you will not pay a 10% penalty. And if you're younger, anyway, either way, that amount you cash out is gonna be added to your income as income added for your yearly income that you're gonna file taxes on.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mario. All right, Cherif, I'm going to take one of the chat questions, and then Akeisha, if you will prepare, I'm going to unmute you after we get this question answered. Cherif, the question that came through was, when I assign a loan to the bank, what is the benefit to the bank?
That was Mario.
Actually, that was from Mario. Yeah, actually, there it is. Next question was, what do you look for when finding space for a potential single tenant buyer?
Okay. Well, I see Akeisha's question. Let's take Akeisha's first. I'm sorry. What are you forecasting for the JV retail program? Is that the one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can answer that one. What are you forecasting for the JV retail program? Are national tenants still open to properties now?
Yes, the JV retail program has never been better, to be honest with you. It seems like people took time because they were staying quarantined at home to watch some videos and to really immerse themselves in the training. We have the training online as well with a lot of webinars, a lot of videos, a lot of even calls that I have done that they can actually listen and learn, and then they immediately can communicate with me, use my proof of fund, etc. So I have never been as busy doing conference calls with tenants as we have been in the last 3 weeks. This has been the best time I have seen for single tenant retailers. We got USave Rental, we have Subway, we continue to deal with Foot Locker. We got 2 deals with Starbucks. We have Popeye that we talked to yesterday. And by the way, I'm going to post a lot of these conference calls. you will see how many came in. For example, yesterday I had 3 conference calls, May 12th. Yesterday, 3 conference calls with big tenants. We're negotiating the letter of intent. And you will hear the conversation. I'm going to post them as soon as we close the deals. I don't want to post them before because the deal is still dynamics under contract. But yes, it's very exciting time. And I will explain later on in this call more about the details of this.